Welcome to the Smart Keys podcast. Imagine losing a $10,000 enterprise sale just because your email was, like, exactly 1 kilobyte too large.
Oh, that is a literal nightmare scenario.
Right. And Gmail just randomly decides to hide your buy now button.
Hmm.
Or, picture your team just totally burning out, working overtime to type out the exact same shipping policy response for the 400th time this week.
Yeah, that's exactly what we see happening every single day in the industry.
Today, we are fundamentally rethinking how you and your organization handle communication. We are taking that overwhelming, dread-inducing email backlog and transforming it into a high-efficiency, revenue-generating business engine.
I love that framing. It really is an engine.
It has to be. Our blueprint for this deep dive is a really comprehensive guide by Felix Romer. It's titled Email Response Templates. Save time with pre-written replies for FAQs.
And we're treating this text today as a true strategic playbook for modern professionals.
Exactly. So if you've ever wondered how top-tier teams achieve these lightning-fast response times without, sacrificing their brand voice or sounding like a programmed robot, you're going to want to hear this insider's look.
It is a profound shift in mindset that we really need to talk about. For far too long, the business world has viewed email templates as the ultimate enemy of good customer service.
Oh, totally. We immediately think of those dreaded do not reply addresses.
Right, that stiff, robotic corporate speak that just makes you feel like you're talking to a brick wall. But the modern reality, as laid out in this playbook, requires us to shift that view entirely.
Because it's not just a copy-paste job anymore.
Not at all. Today, a properly designed, dynamically coded template library is a highly strategic tool. It's basically your frontline defense.
Your defense against just drowning in the inbox.
Exactly. It protects your conversion chances when a customer is ready to buy. It actively builds trust through flawless design. And crucially, it keeps your workforce from drowning under the sheer volume of modern digital communication.
Okay, let's unpack this. Before we get into all the shiny software features and complex tech integrations, we really need to understand the underlying mechanics.
Yeah, the why behind the what.
Exactly. Like, why does this matter to a business's bottom line right at this exact moment? The source material points out that the standard modern service level agreement, the SLA for customer support, is a 1-hour first reply.
1 hour. It's incredibly fast.
It's a razor-thin window. And the mechanical reality is, if every single agent on your team is sitting at their desk, staring at a blinking cursor and typing out bespoke responses from scratch, well, you are mathematically never going to consistently hit that SLA.
No, you're doomed to fail from the start.
Right. I like to think of templates as a pre-flight checklist for communication. A pilot doesn't reinvent the concept of taking off every time they get in the cockpit.
That's a great analogy. They follow a trusted framework.
Yeah, so they can dedicate their cognitive energy to the actual flight. It's not about removing the human element. It's about freeing up your brain space to handle the actual anomalies, the complex problems that require deep human empathy.
What's fascinating here is the psychological impact of that speed on the end consumer and, how it directly ties to revenue.
Because people hate waiting.
They despise it. When a customer reaches out to your business, they are almost always in a state of friction. They might be confused, frustrated by a bug, or, and this is the critical part, they might be signaling commercial intent.
Oh, like you're actually trying to give you money.
Exactly. If someone emails asking a highly specific question about an enterprise tier or how your international shipping works, they are sitting there with their credit card ready.
Ready to buy right then and there.
Yes. A fast, crystal clear reply within that 1-hour window serves to literally close the gap between their hesitation and a closed sale.
But if you take 6 hours to reply,
Then you haven't just provided slow service. You have actively allowed that customer's purchasing impulse to cool off, and they've likely already moved on to your competitor.
and the hidden killer here isn't just the drafting time, is it? It's the bureaucratic loop of approvals.
Oh, the endless back and forth. It's brutal.
The guide points out how standardizing these responses completely eliminates that back and forth with middle management. You aren't forcing your agents to get approval for dozens of ad hoc drafts every single afternoon.
Right. You run the template through the gauntlet of legal and brand approval once, and then you are done. That approval bottleneck is a massive, often untracked drain on efficiency.
So what happens to the QA team then, the quality assurance folks?
Well, let's look at the mechanism. In a traditional setup, QA managers act as glorified spell checkers.
Yeah.
They spend hours reading through outgoing tickets, fixing typos, and passive-aggressive text.
Sounds like a terrible use of time.
It really is. By deploying a pre-approved template library, your QA department can completely shift its operational focus. Instead of checking spelling, they can focus on coaching agents on how to handle variation.
Oh, I see. So they can review tickets to see if the agent successfully expressed empathy or maybe identified an upsell opportunity?
Precisely. Or if they navigated a culturally sensitive nuance correctly, you drastically reduce those review cycles, which lets a team scale smoothly when email volume spikes during, say, a Black Friday launch.
So we have the strategy down. We need to be fast and we need to be pre-approved. But here is where the rubber meets the road.
The actual execution of it.
Right. If speed is the ultimate goal, then the physical execution has to match. I've seen companies where agents have to log into a separate platform, search a messy Google Doc, copy text, paste it into an email, and then spend 2 minutes fixing formatting.
Which is entirely counterproductive.
Exactly. The guide emphasizes this concept of living where you work. We are talking about deploying this seamlessly via a one-click content library directly inside Gmail and Outlook.
The physical workflow mechanics are arguably just as important as the content of the emails. The overarching strategy here is zero tab switching.
Zero tab switching. So you just stay in the inbox.
Yep. You open the standard new mail window, and you have a native sidebar where you can browse, tailor, and send the message right from that exact same screen. You aren't bouncing between a clunky CRM, a wiki, and your inbox.
And I imagine this is huge for mobile too.
Oh, absolutely. There's a Gmail add-on currently available, and an Outlook mobile add-in that's in early access right now. This means reps can execute this high-speed workflow from an airport terminal using their phone.
Just totally untethered from a desktop setup. But I'm going to challenge that premise for a second. Let's really look at this. Tab switching takes, what, 2 seconds?
The quick Alt-Tab, yeah.
Right. Are we really claiming that a 2-second tab switch is the root cause of delayed emails and team burnout? Does simply removing the friction of copying and pasting really save that much time in a business quarter?
It's a fair challenge, but it absolutely does save a profound amount of time. And the reason lies in the mechanism of cognitive load.
Cognitive load.
Yeah, it's not about the physical 2 seconds. It's about the hidden compounding cost of context switching. Every single time you shift your visual focus from your active inbox to an external document, scan for a paragraph, copy it, and switch back, you lose cognitive momentum.
Oh, wow. So your brain actually has to reset.
Psychologists call it attention residue. It takes the human brain time to refocus on the original task. Multiply that micro-distraction by 50 emails a day across a global team of 200 agents.
You're literally bleeding hundreds of hours a week to purely administrative friction.
Precisely.
Right.
And there's a massive technical risk to the copy-paste method as well.
Formatting breaking.
Exactly. When you copy from a Google Doc into Outlook, the underlying code often breaks. Fonts mismatch, line breaks double up. Or worse, the agent accidentally leaves in the brackets that say, insert customer name here.
Oh, which instantly destroys the illusion of personal care.
Completely. By keeping everything native to the email client, you keep replies mechanically error-free. The guide also notes that this native approach allows for powerful integrations, like using Cloud HQ to pull heavily designed MailChimp or HubSpot assets straight into the Compose window.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Because we've established the workflow and our agents are firing off replies in 5 seconds.
Right.
But that speed is completely useless if the email looks like a broken ransom note when the customer opens it.
Absolutely useless.
And I'm going to push back on this idea of pulling in beautifully designed MailChimp templates for everyday replies. Isn't plain text sometimes just inherently safer?
Yeah.
Why are we risking our deliverability by stuffing standard service replies full of heavy HTML code?
That is one of the most critical tensions in modern email strategy. You are balancing the visual trust of an established brand kit against the flawless execution of clean code.
Because a fast email doesn't matter if it's completely unreadable on an iPhone or if it lands in spam.
Exactly. There's a massive mechanical difference between a heavy, broken corporate blast and a perfectly rendered, minimized HTML message. To mitigate the risk you're talking about, the guide outlines strict architectural design principles.
Like what?
First, these templates must be built using mobile-first layouts with what we call responsive rows.
Let's clarify that for everyone. What exactly is a responsive row, mechanically speaking?
Great question. Email clients still largely use tables to structure layouts. Think of a grid. A responsive row is coded so that if the screen is wide, like on a desktop monitor, 2 blocks of content might sit side by side.
Okay, makes sense.
But the moment the email detects it's being opened on a narrow screen, like a smartphone, That row dynamically breaks and stacks the blocks vertically.
Oh, so it prevents the user from having to pinch and zoom just to read the text.
Exactly. The guide also mandates using web-safe fonts for the body copy to ensure it renders universally, and it insists on keeping critical headlines as live text.
The live text element is huge. That means the text is actual code, not just words baked into a JPEG image.
Okay. Yes. If your headline or promo offer is just an image, a screen reader used by a visually impaired customer cannot read it.
Which is a major accessibility failure.
And furthermore, the customer won't be able to search their inbox for that keyword later.
And if we're talking about code breaking, we have to talk about the legendary tech quirks of Outlook. The guide specifically calls out how tricky it is.
Outlook is notorious among developers. Historically, many of its versions use Microsoft Word's rendering engine to display HTML.
Wait, Word, like the word processor.
Yep, which interprets code very differently than a web browser like Chrome or Safari. Because of this, if you don't configure your call to action buttons specifically with Outlook's safe rendering, which often involves writing a specific code called VML or vector markup language, your beautiful reset password button might just visually disappear.
Or become completely unclickable for any client using a corporate Windows machine. Which totally defeats the entire purpose of the email. If they can't click the button to resolve their issue, they're just going to reply back saying the link is broken, instantly adding another ticket to the backlog.
Which brings us to why rigorous testing is non-negotiable. You cannot just send a test email to your own phone and call it a day.
So what's the alternative?
The text recommends utilizing side-by-side desktop and mobile previews and running screenshot testing across 90-plus device and client combinations using professional services like email on ACID.
Wow, 90-plus combinations.
You have to know mechanically what your message looks like on an iPhone 13 running Apple Mail versus a Windows machine running Outlook 2016.
The guide also brings up a terrifying concept called Gmail clipping. Explain the mechanism behind this, because earlier I brought up the scenario of losing a $10,000 sale over a single kilobyte.
Right, that wasn't an exaggeration.
So how does that actually happen?
It comes down to how Google manages server memory. When Gmail receives an HTML file that is larger than 102 kilobytes, it doesn't just load the top and let you scroll.
Okay, what does it do?
It parses the document, and at that 102 kilobyte limit, it physically severs the code. It just stops rendering and adds a little link at the bottom that says, "View entire message."
Which sounds completely harmless to the average person.
It sounds harmless until you understand the structure of an email. The bottom of your email is where your closing HTML tags live, meaning the layout suddenly breaks.
Oh no.
More importantly, the bottom is where your legal footer and your unsubscribe link live. If those are physically clipped, the user cannot easily opt out of your communications.
And if a customer can't find the unsubscribe link, they don't go hunting for it. They just hit the report spam button.
And that is catastrophic.
Because that tanks your sender reputation.
Yes. When enough users hit report spam, internet service providers take note. Suddenly, all of your company's emails are being routed to the junk folder automatically.
So how do you avoid hitting that 102 kilobyte limit?
The process of exporting minimized HTML is vital. That strips out unnecessary spaces and line breaks in the code. Coupled with automated alt text for images, these highly technical details form the invisible foundation that guarantees your message actually lands in the primary inbox.
So let's pivot here. We've established the code is complex, the emails are beautiful, they arrive safely, and our agents can send them rapidly.
Yeah, the system is running.
But this introduces a glaring contradiction.
Right.
If we're using all this complex HTML and inline styling to ensure deliverability, an average customer support rep absolutely shouldn't be touching the code.
Yeah, definitely not.
So how does a massive organization manage all these templates without chaos? I can easily picture a well-meaning agent deciding they want the email to look fun, going into the settings, and changing the entire template to neon green Comic Sans.
That is exactly why you cannot scale this without strict governance and specialized power features. True scale requires centralized control paired with decentralized execution. You want to empower your thousands of agents to send messages quickly, but you must restrict the underlying architecture from being altered.
How do the templates get built in the first place then?
The guide discusses using no-code, drag-and-drop editors for the marketing and design teams who actually build the templates. These editors automatically handle the complex inline HTML and CSS we just talked about.
But for the end users, the agents, the system is locked down.
Exactly.
The synchronized modules feature mentioned in the text completely blew my mind. Synchronized modules are like a master light switch for your entire house. You don't have to walk into 50 different rooms to turn off the lights. You do it once.
That's a perfect way to describe it.
Like if you have a standard paragraph about your company's holiday return policy and legal decides to update it, you don't have to go into 50 different templates to rewrite it.
Right. If we connect this to the bigger picture, think about the immense compliance risks of stale information.
Oh, it's a huge liability.
If your legal team updates a pricing tier, and you have 400 different Word documents floating around on individual agents' hard drives, it could take months to track them all down.
And you are legally liable in the meantime.
Yes. With synchronized modules, like the ones offered by platforms such as Stripo, you update the centralized master block. The change propagates immediately, ensuring that every subsequent email sent by any agent is 100% compliant.
It also mentions AMP blocks. Talk about HTML, but what exactly is AMP? And how does it change the email experience?
AMP stands for Accelerated Mobile Pages. It's a framework originally developed by Google.
Right.
Traditionally, an email is a static document. If you want a customer to take a survey, you put a link in the email, they click it, it opens a new browser tab, they wait for the website to load, and then they fill out the survey.
That's a lot of friction.
AMP allows you to put the interactive elements directly inside the email itself.
Wait, really? So you're saying they can click the radio buttons and submit the form without ever leaving their inbox?
Exactly. You can have star ratings right inside the email, live quizzes, or rollover image galleries. It drastically reduces the friction for the user, which inherently drives up engagement rates.
That is incredible.
But again, governing all this interactive code requires strict role-based access. Marketing holds the brand keys. They use brand guidelines kits to lock down the colors, fonts, logos, and tone.
So they lock the headers, the footers, and the legal modules.
Yep. The support and sales teams are only allowed to type inside specific unlocked body text fields to address the customer's unique problem.
Which naturally brings us to the most human element of all this.
Yeah.
Mass efficiency, lockdown code, and centralized control are fantastic for the business's bottom line.
Definitely.
But customers demand one-to-one relevance. Nobody reaches out to a company wanting to feel like they're just ticket number 405.
No, they want to feel heard.
Exactly. How do we ensure these hyper-efficient systems don't treat high-value clients like generic numbers? How do we make a template feel deeply personal?
This raises an important question about the fundamental nature of automation. Automation should never mean dehumanization.
I like that.
Done correctly, personalization is the mechanism that turns a routine automated update into a highly relevant moment that prompts action. The text focuses heavily on using merge tags to map CRM variables.
And we aren't just talking about a basic first name tag.
Oh, way beyond that. We are talking about connecting your customer relationship management software so the email dynamically adapts. It can pull in their current subscription plan, their geographic location, or the exact date of their last purchase.
So what does this all mean? Think about your own inbox as a consumer. Think about the last automated email you received that actually made you stop and click.
It probably wasn't a generic blast.
Like, it probably wasn't, "Dear valued customer, check out our new product." It was probably something highly specific like, "Hey, Sarah, we saw you're still in the basic plan, and since it's about to snow in Chicago, here's an upgrade offer on our cold weather gear."
Exactly. It used those dynamic geographic and behavioral elements to create the illusion that someone sat down and wrote that exclusively for you.
And the technology allows you to push that dynamism even further with real-time data, doesn't it?
It really does. The guide outlines the ability to pull live inventory or stock counts into the body of the email on open.
Wait, on open, not when the email is sent.
Correct. The email queries the server at the exact moment the user opens it. So if a customer opens the email on Tuesday morning, it might say, 5 items left in stock.
Okay.
If they ignore it but open that exact same email again on Thursday afternoon, the image dynamically updates to say, 2 items left.
Wow. So it creates genuine, accurate urgency without you ever having to send a follow-up email.
Exactly. It's incredibly powerful.
The global reach capabilities are amazing too. The source talks about one-click right-to-left text support for languages like Arabic or Hebrew and built-in translation workflows that route directly via Google Sheets integrations.
Yeah, you can literally localize your responses for entirely different international markets without needing to hire a dedicated localization coding team.
But from a management perspective, how do we prove the return on investment for building out this entire architecture?
You have to fundamentally move beyond vanity metrics. Open rates are nice to look at, but they don't tell the whole story.
Especially nowadays with modern mail privacy protections like Apple's mail privacy protection automatically skewing open data.
Exactly. The key performance indicators, the KPIs that actually matter here, are your first reply time, your click-to-open rate, actual revenue conversions, and your CAT, which is your customer satisfaction score.
And how do you improve those numbers?
You achieve continuous improvement by A/B testing your modules. For example, testing a red upgrade button versus a plain text link within the same locked layout.
That makes sense.
This allows you to learn what mechanical elements actually drive revenue without sacrificing your brand's visual identity. If template A resolves a complex ticket in 2 emails, and template B takes 4 emails of back and forth, you retire B, and you scale A across the whole company.
It's treating communication as an evolving, measurable product, not just an administrative chore. And as we start to wrap up this deep dive, looking at everything we've unpacked today, I think there's a really profound paradigm shift happening here.
There really is. When you look at the trajectory of where this technology is heading, with live data populating the second an email is opened, synchronized modules being controlled from a central legal hub, and interactive AMP blocks.
Those AMP blocks that act like fully functional mini websites right inside the inbox.
Right. It really makes you step back and wonder. The future of professional communication isn't about writing emails at all anymore.
No, it's about architecting dynamic, real-time experiences.
We are essentially building lightweight software applications that just happen to be delivered to a customer's inbox. It begs the question, will the traditional manually typed static email soon become entirely obsolete in the business world?
It's a fascinating and slightly intimidating thought to leave you with. If an architected interactive experience is vastly better for the customer and measurably faster for the business, sitting down and typing a response from scratch really does start to look like a relic of the past.
It really does.
But to ground that lofty futuristic thought with an immediate, highly practical takeaway directly from Felix Romer's playbook, start small. Go from scratch to scale.
Don't try to boil the ocean.
Exactly. Do not try to automate your entire company's communication infrastructure on a day one. Look at your data, find the single most common FAQ your team deals with, and design just one highly effective, beautifully coded message for it. Save it. Test it across devices. Prove the concept.
Once you see the time saved by that one pre-flight checklist, then you can begin to expand and conquer the backlog.
Thank you so much for joining us for this session of the Smart Keys podcast. If you found this breakdown valuable and want to stay ahead of the curve, please hit that subscribe button so you never miss our future deep dives into the strategies and tools shaping the modern workplace. And we highly encourage you to go read Felix Romer's full article to get all the nuanced technical details and coding tips we discussed today. You can find the link directly in the show notes. Until next time, take control of that inbox and keep working smarter.